Hi there, my name is Sushmita. You all know me as Sushi. I'm the digital marketing and comms manager at Rocket Learning. I joined in December 2022. So you can do the math since mine's pretty bad. But I've been here about, I think, 18 months. So my undergraduate degree is in journalism and in psychology from New York University. So I actually interned for a bunch of local newspapers in New York and a few in India when I was in college. I was initially planning to pursue journalism, but then right after graduation, I got an internship at the content department of Global Citizen in New York, and I think that was my first stint in the social impact sector, and I actually saw how I can use my storytelling skills and digital multimedia skills to make a tangible difference in someone's life. I worked for an organization where we worked in public education, so 11 to 12th graders, to get them college and career opportunities, and then later for an organization that worked with people experiencing homelessness to get them permanent housing. So when I actually started working with Rocket Learning, I think somewhere 2-3 months down the line is when I decided this is it. Like, early childhood education is where I can make the biggest difference because it influences everything in your life. So if I can make a change in these years of a person's life, then I can change their life outcomes. And that's why I chose to stay in the sector, and that's why I like it so much. I am actually headed to the University of British Columbia, which is in Vancouver in Canada, to study a Master's of Art in Media and Technology Studies. My professor, the one that I am hoping to partner with, she does a lot of research in the area actually. So let's see how we can build programs that benefit children worldwide, children who come from different socioeconomic statuses, children with learning disabilities, children with different physical needs. How I came about Rocket Learning is interesting. I had just moved from New York in 2022, and I had no idea about the social impact sector in India, having never worked here. So I was talking to a friend of mine who knew all of my background. He knew exactly what I was interested in and that I only wanted to work for nonprofits. He told me about Rocket Learning, and he said it's basically what I've always wanted to do. So I went through the website and I spoke to Aziz, and it's safe to say that there was no looking back. I was actually quite impressed by everything that the founding team was able to achieve within such a short period of time. I was impressed by the tech the most because it's extremely low cost. It's $1.5 per child annually, or 125 rupees per child annually, and that's incredibly difficult to get to. And the scale and the potential was extremely impressive. So I think by now we have already reached 20 lakh children or 25 lakh children. The goal is to reach all of the 8 crore children who attend Anganwadi, so 80 million children. And I see a clear path for us to do that. So when I joined Rocket Learning, I was the 100th member, and just in such a short time, we have crossed over 350 members. That's pretty impressive if you ask me. And we've onboarded a few new funders, and we have a really good team of experts, scientists, researchers, worked with MIT, JPAL, and all of these people who've been in the industry for long enough, who understand brain and body science, and who can guide us through our journey. Before I interviewed for Rocket Learning, and when I was going through a website, I actually learned a lot of things that I had no idea of. Even though I've been born in the country, raised in the country, I've lived here all my life, almost, I had no idea what an Anganwadi was. So as a concept, as a theory, and as an initiative, it's so interesting because you're essentially telling all children under the age of 6 that they have access to this free, publicly funded daycare program. And it's the world's biggest program. And when it started, I think in 1975, it started out more as a nutrition center. But now over the years, the system and we have realized that 0 to 6 is an important age. That's another new thing I learned, that most of the brain's development happens in that time period. In fact, 80 to 90% of the brain is developed by age 6. So if we're unable to provide these children with stimulation, with early learning opportunities, we're essentially risking the developmental growth and risking stunting. So the urgency is there, the need is there, and early education honestly affects everything. Your early education will affect your pre-primary grades, it will affect your high school grades, it will affect the kind of jobs you get in life, and it will affect your health. So essentially your entire life. So these 6 years are critical in any person's life. And that's what we wanted to target. That's where we wanted to work. And the gap was there, right? These centers were amazing nutrition centers, amazing care centers, but they were not learning institutions. So our goal at Rocket Learning is to transform these centers into learning institutions. And obviously, when I heard about the mission, the vision, and then I saw the product and how much scalability and how much potential it has, I was convinced, I was sold. There was no looking back. So my goal with the communications team with communications at Rocket Learning was just firstly to be able to convey the impact we're making by telling the stories of people with lived experiences, people who are actually part of a program. So the Anganwadi workers, the children along with their parents, of course, and anybody with any touch point in the Anganwadi system. I wanted them to be able to freely express their thoughts and to tell us what their day-to-day looks like, if they're benefiting from our program at all, if they've learned anything about early childhood education at all, if their behavior has changed at all, and just walk us through their lives. So we started this thing called Thursday Tales, where every Thursday we post an impact story, where we have people tell us their story in their own voice, and we don't alter or filter anything. So that was a good idea. I think it was a win for me. We also started this newsletter called Edu Insights. So we have multiple different teams, right? We have monitoring and evaluation. We have a policy and national initiatives team. We have 9 state teams. We have a birth to 3 team. We have a behavior change team, a content team, a communications team, and HR and those other teams. And nobody's working in silos, but we were not conveying the quantifiable impact that each of the team was making, and what all experiments they were running, what all new innovations they were coming up with. So we came up with this idea of a monthly newsletter called Edu Insights, where we share anything we think people, our peers in the industry could benefit from. We share insights, we share how we conducted experiments, what monitoring and evaluation studies we ran, what behavior change workshops we ran, what new launches we've done in any states. We always have a theme. For example, June's theme was International Day of Play. And then this month's theme would be our 4th year anniversary, of course, because that's coming up on the 18th. So the newsletter is always fun to work with, because I get to speak to different people in different teams and also learn about everything great that they're doing. One thing I love about Rocket Learning, and I always tell my friends whenever we speak about work, is that every time I speak to a Rocket Learning member or get to know someone from a team, I always walk away feeling that I've learned something new. I always feel like I'm surrounded by geniuses, by people who either have come from the community and understand the community really well, or are experts in their field, and the passion that we all share for the mission is incredible. People who work in the social impact or the non-profit sector work there because they really believe in the mission and the power of everyone coming together to make change. So that's just always inspirational. And honestly, we have an amazing team. I think the average age is 27 or 29, and when I came, I met so many people from different colleges in the US. There's people who've gone to Harvard, there's people who've gone to Stanford, Carnegie Mellon, all of these people coming together back to India to work on this one specific idea. That's amazing, if you ask me. Most of my memorable experiences have been on the field, actually. I remember I went to Manesar in Haryana. I think that was my first time even going to the state. And Manesar is an interesting industrial suburban area, right? And the district that we had gone to, the houses were not permanent housing, and community bathrooms, and there were shelters as well. And honestly, I think the average household income was $120 a month. These people were sending their children to Anganwadi. So I met with them. I was amazed to see how much hunger there was for good educational content in these communities. They want to learn. They want to develop new skills, but they have limited access. I think my favorite thing about working at Rocket Learning is the amount of autonomy that I was given at all times. We encourage experimenting a lot, and failure is something that we celebrate because it's a learning milestone. But the question is 4 words to describe Rocket Learning. I would say we are collaborative because we're not afraid to learn from people in the field, from people we believe know more, and people who have more expertise and have more experience. And we are agile. I think the amount of iterations that we do in our product, in our content, even in our policy, based on things that are constantly evolving, is required, and is how any EdTech product or program would work. We're extremely passionate change makers. Every single person you meet at Rocket Learning works at Rocket Learning because they truly believe in the mission, and they believe that education is a game changer. They truly care about the children that they work with, and they feel like they have the power to make a change in the world. I think we're fun people. We're young. We make fun of each other. We have a great time together, even outside of work. Whenever we meet, it's a blast. We learn from each other, and whether it's us talking about work or not work, we relate on so many different things that it just makes working fun, and that's one of the most important things. I think the only thing that is left to say is that I'm grateful for my experience at Rocket Learning because it showed me the path that I was always searching for. And of all of the sectors I've worked in, early childhood education and care is something that I've grown to love and something I can get behind. That is the reason I'm pursuing such a niche master's, and I will miss Rocket Learning a lot. I'll miss working here a lot, and I'm gonna have a bunch of FOMO from all of the retreat pictures from the conference, but I will always be a supporter. And you never know, I hopefully will come back and join the team again.